Everyone to this very special day, November 10th. And I will take my mask off since I'm alone right now. November 10th is a very special day for all of us. It's the day that is the birth anniversary of Father Camille Bouche, who for our era of Xaverians and maybe, for the majority of us here, he is someone who has been a towering experience for our St. Xavier's career. So today we gather together to pay our respects and to remember him, his loving contribution, his dedication of his life to us. And he was also one of the founders of Alsoc. And so we've decided at Alsoc to celebrate this day as Alsoc Day in his memory. So we celebrate his contribution to St. Xavier's, we celebrate his dedication to us, and also we celebrate the establishment of Alsoc. I'm very thankful to have all of you join. I'm joined by our Alsoc president and principal of the school, Reverend Father Tomasin. I'm joined by Reverend Father Narendra, who is now the vice principal, or as we used to call then the prefect. Father Narendra has been kind enough to let me sit in his room, so I have the rare honor of being in this prefect's office and not having to hand in my report card, my weekly report card. So my backside is resting on a chair instead of the sharp edge of a cane, which is always a lot nicer. And those days just keep rushing in, when you're in this room. I'd also like to let everyone know that a few days ago on Saturday, we had a very special occasion. We commemorated the re-christening and dedication of the senior school gymnasium to Father Bouche. It's been renamed as the Father Camille Bouche Gymnasium in his honor. And thank you, Father, for touching us old boys in a very emotional corner of our heart, because Father Bouche was the world to us for so many decades. And having a permanent presence via this gymnasium right next to the entrance is extremely special. Really don't have much more to say. This is a day that we will talk about. I will show a short video of this ceremony, this dedication ceremony. So if you don't mind bearing with me, it's about a 5-minute video. And for those of you who've not had a chance to visit school in a while, the first minute and a half also showcases all the wonderful improvements in the school campus that have been done under the care of our new principal. And it's really looking, so beautiful now. And it's so sad that it's not being used as a school because of the pandemic. The school boys are not here. But I'm sure this video will bring a smile to all of you. So I'm going to start the screen share. The halls, to run through principal's office, the redone hallways with posters of proud Xaverian institutions, This is the beloved office of the prefect, the vice principal, Father Bouche's office, where I'm sitting now. And all of us used to dread going there. This is our beautiful campus. This is the gymnasium, the Father Camille Bouche Gymnasium, and you see beautiful murals are being painted with phrases from our school song. Ceremony, Reverend Fathers, you can see our Founder Secretary Tuhinda in the background. Siddharth Ghosh is also there in the shadows behind the pillar.
Welcome to this newly Christian Father Camille Bouche Gymnasium. For all of us who have walked these halls, Father Bouche was a towering figure like no other. He was one of us, he was our leader, he was our mentor, and how he kept switching from one role to the other is truly remarkable. And I really hope that a little bit of his magic spirit, his kind heart will influence us, touch us, and cause us to live the values. Very nice to see the tremendous amount of work that has gone in the school over the past year. Congratulations, Father Tanasin, on the blood and sweat and toil that you have put in, and thank you on behalf of the old boys for taking such good care of our campus.
Was the simple, the day we played and things to love, that you don't really care for music where the girls like this, the fourth and fifth, and minor fall.
I request Father Prabal Gomes, Minister of the St. Xavier's community, to come and share a message with the rest of us.
But I have seen him in St. Lawrence when I was doing my studies. He's a very simple man, very kind person. So that's what I know about him. And you people have taken so important person in your life. After coming here, I could see that. Because his love, his dedication, his guidance has touched all of you, which is expected from each and everyone as a human person. Whatever we do, whatever I say, through my gesture, through my activities, it should focus other-centered. That's what he has done for us, and he has done to everyone in this school. So, I would like to say that we must not only celebrate, but we should take some of his qualities in us and show the others that what he has done to us. Because of his love, his special kindness that brought us together here today. This is a beautiful thing.
I would like to thank the eternal soul that Father Bouche is. His presence still remains here, and that is the reason we are all gathered. I would also like to thank Father Thanasin for dedicating the gym to Father Bouche. I would also like to thank Alsoc office, particularly Vishnu ji, Neil, for making the lovely arrangements.
We ended with a sumptuous match. Lots of good stories and conversations. Remember the Life and Times of Father Bouche. Thank you all for watching that. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making that. Now, may I request Father Thomason to please address us and bless us on behalf of St. Xavier School, Alsoc, and the entire Jesuits of St. Xavier's Kolkata.
Respected Father Narendra Singh, the Vice Principal of the Secondary Section, respected Mr. Siddhant Kaul, the Honorary Secretary of Alsoc, all the former secretaries and the members of Alsoc family. A very good evening to all of you and wish you all a very happy Alsoc Day. It reminds me of the last year's celebration of Alsoc Day, where I was introduced to a large family of Alsoc members. And I did mention last year, seeing all of you so enthusiastic, so active, so available for all the works of the school, which makes the school very proud and leads the school to the greater heights. Once again, I would like to repeat the same words. Alsoc and the school are not two different things. They are one and the same. This is what my own observations past 1.5 years. This is what my own interactions with you all. I have seen this beautiful family grow up and leading us to greater heights, where number of members of family, our own members, came forward very generously to step into the school, walk into the school, and also to enrich the school with various abilities. To mention a few, ever since the pandemic took place, it's a very tough time for all of us. At the same time, we also caught this at this moment, that number of us were here to distribute the food packets in spite of the pandemic and in spite of the corona. That shows us that we are responsible and we are committed to our mission towards the school and towards our own fellow men. That's shown in various activities like distribution of the food packets, distribution of the notebooks to our students, and the distribution of new mobiles to our own evening school, distribution and plantation of various saplings in various places. This all showed to us that our spirit of this Xaverian is always alive. And at this moment, I like to expand the entire word Alsoc, what it means to me, what I observed from you all. I'd like to speak on A, the word A, which is very close to me. The word is available. If you look at the Jesuit mission, Jesuit work, and life of Jesuits, this word availability is very important. Wherever we are called to, whichever mission we are sent to, the members of the Jesuits are expected to be available. This inspiration we draw from our own founder, Ignatius. And this inspiration we also see in the life of St. Francis Xavier, our patron, where he was sent to India to spread the good news and to make people of God. So this availability I have seen in all of you. Particularly, we have seen the senior most members who used to come for all the Alsoc meetings, be it winter, be it summer, or be it rainy day. We could witness this, many of our senior members, to encourage the juniors to come forward and also participate in various events. So the word availability is very close to me. I'm sure that you have imbibed this availability, the spirit of availability in each one of you in coming to the school and also expanding the great mission of the Jesuits. The second letter
L stands for loyalty. I have seen various organizations, I have seen various NGOs where people would look for their own personal benefits. But in the members of Alsoc, I have not seen that. Always loyal to the spirit, loyal to the Xaverian spirit that they imbibe. Whichever platform it is, they're very loyal. Whatever work it is, they're very loyal. Be it small or big, I've seen all the members of the Alsoc who have come to the school, with whom I have a lot of interaction, always loyal and genuine to the spirit they've imbibed. So this second letter, which is very, very important, very close to all of us, second word rather. And third, S stands for service-mindedness. I think ever since the inception of this Alsoc, the foundation of the Alsoc, the words where people do challenge us, what we have received from the school, we must return to the school. That shows the social aspect of our own education. Today we give the education not only to make one as a better person, to make each one as better persons. So this social consciousness is instilled in each one of us, and that is what the Jesuit education is also. And I observe this in each one of you. And the fourth letter, O, stands for originality. I've seen this in all our members of the Alsoc, in all works of the Alsoc. It always stands up. That is why we become very creative and very active and very innovative in all the programs. If you've noticed the past few months where we organize various webinars, that's a reflection of this originality. Therefore, this spirit of originality will always take us and take the institution to the greater heights. Finally, the last letter stands for commitment. This is what the hallmark of the Jesuit mission is. On the one side, we have the excellence. On the other side, we have the commitment. And this is what you could observe in all the fathers. I'm sure you observed in Father Bouche too, the commitment to the mission. Whatever work it be it as a prefect, or be it as a principal, or be it as a teacher. This commitment to the mission is one of the hallmark of our Jesuit characteristics also. Therefore, this is what I observe in all of you. The Alsoc word, which is I try to expand it, this come out from my own personal experiences. So on this very auspicious day, this is my prayer and this is my blessing to all of you, that let's continue to imbibe the values said to us, instilled in us by our own Reverend Father Bouche. And surely he is there for us. He continues to bless each one of us. As he looked up, we wanted all of us to be better persons. I'm sure that this legacy of Xaverian spirit, a legacy of St. Xavier's life, will always lead us to greater heights. This is my prayer for you as we are into the pandemic, particularly these moments. Let's invoke God's blessings upon all of us, all our members, all our family members, all our children, and all our student staff, that we valiantly fight against this corona and valiantly come forward into this institution. Once again, to cherish the legacy, at the same time, to make our own imprints felt in the institution. With this, I'd like to wish you once again happy Alsoc Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Father, for that beautiful message and for highlighting what each and every letter of the word Alsoc stands for. I have a very special guest today. Mr. Jean-Claude Muller is here from Luxembourg. He has joined via the phone because due to the pandemic, his internet connection is down. And we'll hear from Mr. Muller live in a minute. But before that, I have another very special message that I would like to read out. And this is from the niece of Father Bouche, Françoise Bouche. We really wanted her to attend, but unfortunately, she is stuck up in another engagement today, and she can't make it, but she very kindly sent out a message for all of us, which I will read out on her behalf. Dear Xaverians, I hope this message finds you in good health. The COVID pandemic certainly changed all our daily lives. For many of us, everyday life has become less busy and we spent more time at home. Mr. Call informed me that the school campus had to be closed. The closure must be difficult for the students who certainly miss the regular exchange with their peers and teachers. I hope that the students can return to the campus in the near future to continue their studies. While the pandemic is stressful and worrisome in many aspects, we can choose to see the downtime it forces us to take as an opportunity to reconsider our priorities in life and do things for which we do not often have enough time. We can spend more quality time with our loved ones, try to learn something new, or develop ideas on how we can support the communities in which we live during these difficult times. Personally, I am very grateful that my family is healthy, and I strongly hope that they stay healthy through this pandemic. I am also very grateful to have a husband who supports me and a beautiful and healthy 2-year-old daughter, Isabel Mal. She is our greatest pride and joy. She keeps us busy and makes us laugh. She loves music, and so we often dance with her. Dancing takes away some of the everyday stress and makes us all smile. For me, being grateful for what you have, finding happiness in small things, and keeping your sense of humor and your smile is essential in times like these. Staying in close contact with those I care about by phone, email, or social media also helps me to stay positive. When I wrote this message, I thought a lot about what Uncle Camille stood for and what we can learn from his life. Maybe this question can inspire your discussions at today's virtual meeting. Uncle Camille was born in 1922 in Beckeridge, a small village in the west of Luxembourg near the Belgian border. After primary school, he was educated at a Jesuit school in Xavier, Belgium. In September 1939, World War II started. In May 1940, the Nazis occupied Belgium, and the students of the Jesuit school had to be evacuated. When Nazi planes attacked the evacuation vehicles, 19 students died. Fortunately, Uncle Camille only suffered an injury to his knee and survived. The events must have deeply touched him, since this was when he decided to dedicate his life to God. In September 1941, he became a novice in the Society of Jesus in Ireland, Belgium. To avoid the forced recruitment by the Nazis, he had to go into hiding for several years. After the war, he was able to finish his study. In July 1947, he decided to serve God in India, and in December 1947, he arrived in Kolkata. Despite the horrible things he certainly witnessed during World War II, he still believed very strongly in the human good and obviously wanted to make the world a better place. For me, our beloved Uncle Camille stood for deeply caring about others and sharing with them. I remember him as a very affectionate person, an attentive observer and a good listener. But what I remember the most strongly is his great smile. His smile lit his whole face. I think his smile was so warm and honest because he was at peace with himself. My family is very keen to hear what Uncle Camille meant to you. We are also very interested in hearing about the current situation in Kolkata and in what you do to stay positive during the pandemic. Unfortunately, I will not be able to take part in today's virtual meeting. Mr. Call informed me that the meeting will be recorded and parts can be viewed on YouTube. It is a great idea to share the videos with all those who cannot participate in the meeting. My family and I will certainly watch them. The virus and the social distancing rules oblige us to keep our physical distance. But thanks to the modern means of communication and social media, we can keep in contact and stay close to each other. So the physical distance does not have to entail an emotional distance. In this spirit, I hope that you all enjoy this year's Alsoc Day very much, and that it gives you hope and strength in these difficult times. My family and I sincerely hope that you all stay healthy and send our warmest regards. Yours sincerely, Francois Bouche.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for that special message, Francois. I do hope that you will watch this on YouTube, and we look forward, all of us at Alsoc look forward to hearing from you once in a while. Your family also contributes every year very generously to our evening school initiative, which is for the underprivileged children. And thank you very much for staying in touch with Alsoc and continuing to be in touch and supporting Alsoc and St. Xavier's. Can I now request Mr. Muller, Mr. Jean-Claude Muller, if you could please unmute yourself and talk to us for a few minutes.
Hello, do you hear me now?
Yes, thank you very much. Please go ahead.
It's a great honor to, not physically, but spiritually, be with you and to address you a few reminiscences back from the year 1977, when I was at the end of my second year of studies, university studies at the University of Oxford in England, learning Oriental studies and comparative linguistics. So since I have studied Sanskrit, I would want to start to say to all the participants a very cordial namaste. I'm living in the neighboring village of Beckerish, where Father Bouche was born, as we just heard. This small village here is called Redon-sur-Attert. It's my hometown, and we still have great nephews and the nephews of Father Bouche living that I know very well, and I'm definitely going to give them reports, as I'm also in contact with the parents of Francois Bouche, who we just heard. So at the end of my second study year, leading up to the BA in comparative linguistics at Oxford, I undertook a 6-week trip to India in late August 1977, and when the family of Father Bouche heard that this was being planned, they insisted that I must absolutely go to Kolkata and pay him a visit, which I did with pleasure. I only stayed 2 days, as I said, in late August 1977, but it has remained a very strong memory with me, since it also meant getting up very early in the morning. I suppose that everybody who listens knows why, since he was very close to Mother Teresa and her sisters. He took me to say Mass there at the convent of Mother Teresa. That's another very strong reminiscence that I have of this visit. I also remember his smile and a certain shrewdness, a Luxembourg shrewdness, as I would define it, with which we talked about political problems more generally. It was the time when in all the countries of the subcontinent, there was political change, like Indira Gandhi, Mrs. Bandaranaike in Ceylon, and also in Pakistan and Bangladesh. There had been political changes, so this was quite an interesting time for all of us. I then continued my trip for another 6 weeks, ending up in Sri Lanka before returning home, and for my last year, which led me then to first a university career, and then becoming a civil servant in Luxembourg. I spoke this morning to a Luxembourg journalist who is well known here, José Laurent, who asked me to say hello and say his sympathy to all of you as well, since he remembers as well. 2 years later, in 1979, he paid a visit also to Father Camille. Let me now come to a second point, which I have mentally prepared, which is the memory of other Luxembourg Jesuits who some of you may have known, since they have been associated with St. Xavier's College. The one who died almost 100 years old a few years ago with Father Gales, who I came to know personally still. I also name Father Sassel and Father Johannes, who wrote Sanskrit primer. This leads me to a last point, which might be of interest to some of you. It's the history of Sanskrit studies, which is one of the fields that I continue researching and publishing. And this year, 2020, this year that will remain in all our memories as the pandemic year, was published in Paris at the Academy of Sciences, a monograph printing at last the up to here unpublished Sanskrit grammar of a French Jesuit, Jean-François Pons. Father Pons came to India and especially to Bengal in the late 1720s, and by 1739 he had dipped so much into Sanskrit culture that he could write Sanskrit grammar in Latin based on the grammatical traditions that you all know and that we appreciate so much, going back to Panini. And he was living in Chandernagore, which was the French post near Kolkata. So this publication has come out this year, and it gives testimony to the continued Jesuit presence and very fruitful scientific and spiritual activity in your part of the world. With this, I would like to salute you all and perhaps stay in the line to answer some questions if there might be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muller. It was lovely to hear from you about the influence and the connection we have had in Calcutta and St. Xavier's with the Jesuits from Luxembourg and in the area from where you live. I think we would at St. Xavier's like to stay in touch with you. One of the things that we are very keen on doing is establishing an exchange program, and perhaps there is a high school in the region that would be receptive to doing kind of a long-term association with us in this regard, and we would love to take your help in doing that. We've had a very successful exchange program in Dublin with Belvedere College for almost the last 2 decades, and we would like to discuss this model with you and maybe take your advice on how we could maybe replicate it in Luxembourg.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a very positive approach and thought, and we'll be in touch with you.
Thank you so much. There are so many of us who've had a long experience with the Father Bouche. May I now I'll request a few of our seniors to share their thoughts. May I request my predecessors as secretaries, Kollanda, Numida, Siddharth Bhaiya, to please share a few quick thoughts about what Father Bouche has meant to them, to Alsoc, to St. Xavier's. So can I request you? We'll start maybe with Kolkata. If you could unmute yourself and share a few, if you're feeling up to it.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Kolkata.
Yeah. Good evening, fathers. Good evening, Siddhant. Good evening, friends. And a pre-Diwali happy Xaverian meet. Now, I always enjoyed a special relationship with Father Bouche. It started with 1966. So that's almost how many years? It's now 66 and 2020. So you can imagine the number of years. But it still has left an indelible stamp on my memory. That year, I had kind of stepped into the big school. And can you imagine the number of C grades that I got? 27. I repeat, 27 times I had to visit Father Bouche's office. Well, of course, the cane was always there. And he told me after, I think, something like 10 or 15, that I get tired, why don't you visit me on a daily basis? Then instead of caning you thrice, I would do it once every 3 days. Here I would like to narrate a small incident. After, I think, 15 or so C grades, that is in the middle of the second term, my father came and met Father Bouche. He said, my father wanted to withdraw me from the school. He said that he's unfit, he's not finding it pleasant. So what do we do, Father? And you know what Father said? Don't worry, he will settle down. We will make a man out of this boy. That's why I have the cane. So that was his motto, love. He loved every boy of the school. He knew them by their first names. He called them Sonny. He was their friend, he was their guide and philosopher. Just one more incident, and now I'm sure you have quite a few others who would like to speak. I remember vividly the day that he left Xavier's and joined St. Lawrence. We had a very touching ceremony in that gymnasium, which has been named after him. I was just thinking that how times change. On that day, people had come with their long speeches about Father. I remember our guru of Alsoc, Father Pikachi. When it was his turn to speak, he just said 2 words. Father Bouche was sitting next to him. He said, have a look at this man or this priest. Whom does he resemble? So, you know, we schoolboys, each one put up his hand that he's the best priest that we've seen in Xavier's and so on. And Father Pikachi at the end said, don't forget, he resembles Santa Claus or all the most. So the love used to really come out of him. That was something extraordinary. And apart from his other deeds in Xavier's, and I have been a witness to quite a few, he was one of the most respected figures in the Calcutta educational society. Thank you, Siddhant. Thank you, Father, for giving me this opportunity. I take this opportunity to offer my personal respect to Father Bouche. And just to remember him, we celebrated the reunion in 1997, celebrating his 75th birthday. Thank you all. Thanks,
Thank
Siddhant.
you. Thank you, Kolanda. Numida, can I call on you next, please?
I hope I can be heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reverend Father Thamasin, Reverend Father Narendra, Honorary Secretary Siddhant, and my dear friends. First and foremost, Father, how proud you have made us all by the way you have defined Alsoc. How proud you have made us all that you have sought to rename the gym after one of the figures whom Alsoc has tried to model itself upon, our dearest Reverend Father Bouche. I remember it was a very long time ago when I was the secretary. A group of us wanted to celebrate Reverend Father Bouche's birthday by visiting Dhyan Ashram, the spot where he was buried. And when we went over there, we were absolutely taken up with the beautiful surroundings, the peaceful nature of the place. And we resolved then and there to make it into an annual affair. I'm very happy that that is carrying on till today. And I'm also very happy that Dr. Ananda Chanda is there. Even at that time, he took the lead in organizing this. It was there that we met Reverend Father Broylance, who urged us to take up the Bagi School renovation. Bagi School was a school for girls, and they had very little infrastructure. Though a plot of land had been donated, they barely had a shed in which the students studied. There were no toilet facilities, and so Reverend Father Broylance asked us if we could perhaps do something over there. I remember we constructed a ground plus first story structure and even installed a proper ladies' toilet over there. One of the events I think that Alsoc undertook very successfully. A bit about Father Bouche. I had joined Alsoc, and when it was proposed to me that I could be the secretary, it was done by Siddharth Kudoria and our dear friend Dr. Zahid Ganji. One of the reasons for my agreeing was that I would get a chance finally to spend some time with Father Bouche. Very sadly though, it was on a Sunday that I was introduced as the secretary of Alsoc. And the very first task that I undertook was to arrange the final ceremony, because Father Bouche expired, I think, on a Monday. And on a Tuesday, we had to have this ceremony to bid him farewell. It's something that has always stayed with me, but unfortunately, I could not get to spend more time with Reverend Father Bouche. Well, in school, I was absolutely a backbencher, and I was quite surprised to receive the call to be the honorary secretary and sit in front of everybody, which made me rather uncomfortable. So I did what I always do in such situations. I took it very lightheartedly and cracked a few jokes. Surprisingly, Alsoc took that very well, and well, the rest, as we know, is history. Alsoc has gained in strength and strength. And the strength that Alsoc has got and has gained is because of its membership. As Father explained, the very, very willing nature of people to come up, do their bit, do more than their bit, and work together in close cooperation and harmony. Alsoc has no role to play except to help the Reverend Fathers in whichever way they deem fit. For us, the Reverend Fathers are very, very special people indeed. When we look at the Reverend Fathers, we fail to see them as human beings. In our mind, they occupy the same space they've always occupied when we first entered the portals of St. Xavier's. We look at them with immense respect and a slight tinge of fear, I guess. I know and understand now the sacrifices it takes to be a Jesuit priest. And we are humbled by this. We are humbled by the fact that though we give our time and attention, perhaps a few days in a month, perhaps a few hours in a day, but they live it 24/7. They're there to educate our children, the children of our friends, and the children of Calcutta, to make them all proper human beings, to make them all gentlemen. Well, now we've got the Alsoc office right at the entrance of the school, next to the Father Headmaster's chamber. And we've got now Father Bouche gym near the exit of the school on the other side. A word of caution to Reverend Father. If we carry on at this rate, fathers, we might just take over the whole school. It's been wonderful hearing you all. It's been wonderful being with you. Thank you for giving us to say a few words. I dare say I've overshot my welcome. Keep quiet now. But once again, thank you, Reverend Fathers, for making us feel so proud. And thank you, Siddhant, for this wonderful opportunity and for all the thoughtful things you've done to make this meeting so interesting.
Thank you, Numita. I'll just share, some photos of Dhyan Ashram, and this was from last year. This is where Father Bouche rests, and you can see that it's a pilgrimage for all of us who can make it there. This was earlier today, where there was a delegation again of a small delegation of members who went. So this is how we all pay our respects at Dhyan Ashram, not just to Father Bouche, but to all the Jesuit fathers who have been with us, guided us, nurtured us, and loved us. I'll request Siddharth Bhaiya to say a few words, and after that, may I request someone who knew Father Bouche both as a student and as a teacher, that's Mr. Leslie Tigama, to just share his perspective on Father Bouche with all of us. Siddharth Bhaiya, please.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Good. Good evening, Reverend Father Hamachin and the other fathers who are there, my friends in Alsoc, Siddhant, and all our lovely people, the Xavier family who get together at every opportunity that we do. So today is a special day where we remember Father Bouche fondly, for he has left an indelible mark in our hearts. Father Bouche was more than just a father to us. He was more than a prefect to us. As we were talking this morning, he was kind of symbolized what the office of a prefect of discipline was. For so many decades, he was there, and it was that kid. It was that smile. It was that love and affection, and it was that attitude that we will make you men out of whatever for you are. So that was his spirit, and we are so happy that we got this opportunity of of becoming men under the guidance, love, and affection of Father Bouche. We have so many memories, but we all recall how he would go around the corridors and get into the classes to catch people who were having long hair. And I recall the time when I was in the school play and I had to have a long hair. So he got hold of me and asked me to come up and send me off to Delight, the saloon. And I told the father, I'm in the school play. Okay, I'll spare you this time. Because of that spare, I could keep long hair throughout the year. So that was this kind of love and affection, which if the kids wanted to do something, he would find a way of looking the other way. So we are very fortunate that so many of us have fond memories of Father Bouche. He will always remain dear to us. And we would like to always emulate the love and affection that he had so much in his smile, in his face, in his demeanor. We would like to emulate that in our lives always. So thank you, Siddhant. Thank you, Father Thamachan, for this opportunity. I wish you all a lovely Alsoc day. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth Bhaiya. Mr. Glesdi Digama next, and then we have a very special message by Sanjay Bajoria on behalf of the batch of 1980.
So my association
Mr.
with Father
Digama.
Bouche goes back to my days when I spent, like Kalyan, a fair bit of time outside his office. I keep getting reminded of that. And he reminded me too, when he finally took me in as a teacher, there's a whole story behind that. I had just left La Martiniere and I had gone to the school in the evening. I used to go to the chapel regularly, and he said, "What are you doing here? How's La Martiniere?" So I said, "Father, La Martiniere is over. I don't have a job." So he says, "Okay, come with me." He took me to the first floor, opened Father Wavrel's door, and he points to me and he tells Wavrel, This is he I told you about. Take him." That's how I became a teacher in the school. Literally 30th of June, 1st of July, I was in class 8B teaching mathematics and English. That's how we got into And then after that, I've been very close in various ways with the Nihil Ultra. I ran the Nihil Ultra for several years with Father Bouche as the chief editor. And I did all the technical stuff in the background. He used to call me in for helping with selecting teachers, because he said, "Oh, you're an old boy, and old boy is always best for selecting teachers." So that was, and then when I got married, Father Bouche was very, very ill. He was in the infirmary, and Father Broilance was the person who celebrated my marriage. But there were 14 priests who came from all over the place, people who knew me as a student. And then suddenly I saw Father Bouche being wheeled in on a wheelchair. He had come all the way down from the infirmary, and he insisted on sitting in the sanctuary at the back, out of sight, where he could see me, see both of us right through the ceremony. It was so touching and so personal. And he was like that. He used to drop into the house fairly often. He used to pick me up and take me to Mother Teresa very early in the morning to help with distribution of various things which were collected by the boys in social service. So these are the memories I have of him. And of course, his chain smoking, his, his little cough to tell us that he was coming so that we could all get into our places in school. I think these are things that really, endeared him to us and us to him in the same way. One of the saddest times is when he went off to St. Lawrence's. I'm sure St. Lawrence's had a good time, but we were very sad to see him uh, leave St. Xavier's and go to St. Lawrence's. And then, of course, we just remained personal friends for a very, very long time. So, as a teacher, I knew him as my colleague, as my headmaster for a short while. As a student, I knew him as my prefect all the time that I was in school. So Happy Alsoc Day to everybody, and I'm really happy we keep celebrating this year on year, and we continue to celebrate it for as long as Alsoc is around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sanjay Bajoria or Arindo Taraftar on behalf of the batch of 1980.
Hello, good evening, Father. All the fathers, good evening. Good evening, Siddhant, Nomi Bhaiya, Siddharth Bhaiya, Kalyanda, Leslie, and all the other senior members. And hi to all the other friends. This is a very auspicious day. And for us who have been active in Alsoc primary project, as you all are aware, Harsh Shannon, my 1980 batchmate, designed the building, and then with blessings of Father Jerome at that time and the successive fathers, today the primary school building, which was a dream, after 17 years is a reality. So I must thank Father Thomasin for taking all the initiative and completing it, and giving also the opportunity, as discussed with Anindo Tarafdar, to the 1980 batch to contribute towards the primary school canteen and the play area. So we have had a discussion amongst our batch, and today on Father Bouche's birthday, our 1980 batch pledges to raise 15 lakh rupees or even more if needed for this project. And we will be sending the official letter to Father Thomasin with a request to open the bank account so that we can start remitting the funds. That's all for now. Thanks, Siddhant.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay Bhaiya. Thank you, Arindo Tarafdar. Both of you have been such stalwarts of Alsoc. And thank you to the batch of 1980 for coming forward and supporting this project. It's the involvement of alumni in our school that keeps it special. It's something that Alsoc is pledged to do, and I hope we continue to have a chance in doing what we can to support the school and help out wherever the fathers feel it may be of use. We are there at your service, Reverend Fathers. On behalf of the entire Alsoc, I can say that. We have a little short time. If there is, maybe one or two people more, can you please raise your hands or just unmute yourself and start? And then we'll have to close out this evening's celebration. We are keeping the YouTube link is there. Is there anyone else to speak? If not, I know it's a little late. Can I then request our sitting prefect, although he's vice principal, but Father Narendra, I hope you don't mind if I take the liberty of referring to you as prefect in Alsoc. Prefect is a very special meaning. I think maybe 2 generations down, vice principal will have that same very, very special meaning. But Father Narendra, can I request your thoughts, your concluding thoughts and message to all of us at Alsoc on this occasion of Alsoc Day?
Reverend Dr. Thomasin Aurlapan, President Alsoc and Principal St. Xavier's Collegiate School, Kolkata. Mr. Siddhant Paul, Honorary Secretary Alsoc. All the secretaries in the recent years, the steering committee, and all the members from Alsoc joining from across the globe. I feel honored and privileged to be present on this platform on which all the dedicated Alsoc members from India and staying abroad have been part of this meeting. In fact, Father Bouche must be very happy to see all of you and all of us from heaven. And also he must be extremely delighted seeing the developments in the school, following his footsteps and continuing his legacy. Father Bouche's birthday today, when we went to Dhyanashram to celebrate, I felt very inspired. In fact, I was sharing that I was in Dhyanashram for the last 4 years prior to coming to this place. I used to watch all the Alsoc members going there, but this time I felt very special when I went there. And that reminds me of our honorary secretary, Mr. Siddhant, just at the beginning of the meeting, he was telling us that this is the chair where Father Bouche used to sit, or also, the prefect. So I feel very humbled and also very privileged to sit on that chair, the chair which was so privileged, on which Father Bouche himself sat and met so many students. So this gives me immense privilege and also a sense of great humility. Undoubtedly, Father Bouche, of course, I had never had the chance to meet him, but I have read so many articles and heard a lot about him from different sources. He was a great man, very saintly and holy and dedicated, committed, man of God and man for others. I think that is what all of you, all the members of Alsoc have been into or up to. He was a man of course, absolute generosity. And I think he has taught all of you and all of us what it means to be generous. Also, the meaning of generosity. Therefore, the greatest tribute or gratitude that we can give to him is just to live by them. And already you have been living. All the members are extremely generous. That reminds me of one of the beautiful quotes by John D. Rockefeller, who says, think of giving not as a duty, but as a privilege. So whenever I see all of you and coming up with so many things that you want to help others, help poor people, that is what inspires me. And you have been also reaching out to many less privileged or underprivileged people, as Father himself mentioned, that during the pandemic and also the post-pandemic, contributing saplings and going to different places. And that further reminds me of another beautiful quote by Frank A. Clark, who said, real generosity is doing something nice for someone who will never find out. The way you came out and sponsored some of the, some smartphones to those poor kids who otherwise would not be able to attend the classes. This is real spirit of Father Bouche. I think he must be extremely rejoicing from heaven. As I was sharing in the morning, Father Bouche cannot go to any other place but to heaven directly. Such a holy man, such a nice man. So he may be extremely rejoicing seeing your generous act. That's what whenever I look at you all, look at all your activities, that particular word comes to me again and again. Real generosity. That's what I am further reminded of, that another beautiful quote which matches to all your works. True generosity is an offering given freely and out of pure love. No strings attached, no expectations. All of you are so generous and generous to the core, and that also generous without any expectation. That is really inspiring me. And also you have been men for others. As Saint Ignatius of Loyola, our founder, beautifully says, we are called to be men for others. And I think you are men not only for yourselves, but men for others. I have been noticing ever since I stepped into this campus, and even prior to that, when I was under the formation, trying to become a Jesuit priest, and when I was in the training, I was really touched, and I am touched by your true generosity. And as I said, you are men for others. The works you have been doing already show that you are living for others, and you have been always cooperative. And that's what your activities will blend with the idea of Albert Einstein, who beautifully said, the value of man resides in what he gives and not in what he is capable of receiving. And you have been giving and giving without any expectation. And your work also matches with the idea of Jesuits across the globe, that finding God in all things, and especially finding God in the poor people and the underprivileged people. Today, when I went to an ashram with some of the Alsoc members, some of you, I forgot to ask the name of the MC today, one who was there. And while I was having a casual conversation with him, he made a very beautiful point. When I asked him, sir, where do you work? He's a doctor, of course. He said, Father, I'm a doctor and I'm teaching the aspirant doctors. Then when I asked, where do you often go or where do you go? He said, Father, I often go to the rich people. And I was amused. I asked, is it so? Where do you go? Where are the rich people? He said, rich people are in the remote villages who have nothing to eat or maybe very minimum to wear, who have very tiny houses. Father, they are the richest people. And I go to meet them and I go to serve them. I was very much touched. I think I had formation for 16, 17 years. I had not heard such a beautiful statement. I think this I will cherish till the last breath of my life. And I think this is what very much visible in all the Alsoc members, not only in that particular person, but all the Alsoc members. As I am always saying that you are extremely generous without any expectation. And that further reminds me of another beautiful quote by a person called John Bunyan, who said, you have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. In fact, the works that you are doing for the night school, for the evening school, and for many poor people, the service that you are rendering, and the hearts that you are touching so many poor people, they will never be able to repay you, never be able to, may not be able to repay us, but they will repay us in and through their prayers. I think this is my message, that all of you have been into it, all of you have been up to it, and undoubtedly, all of you have been generous, very kind, very supportive, as Father Principal was saying in the beginning. This is your school. This school, I mean, you have been very part and parcel of this school. And it is not run by Jesuits alone, but by Jesuits and by Alsoc. So you are our co-partners, co-travelers, co-pilgrims who have been journeying to mold so many youngsters so that we make them citizens, better human beings. I think this is what we have been up to, and let us pray for this grace that Father Bouche from heaven will intercede for all of us, that we continue to keep his legacy, continue to tread the path he trod, continue to be generous, continue to be good human being, continue to be cordial, and continue to be happy persons, and continue to reach out to the others. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you, Father Narendra, for that lovely closing remarks. And I will leave everyone as we wrap up today with the famous smile of Father Bouche. And as everyone signs off, I request each and everyone to say a quick prayer for St. Xavier's, for Alsoc, and for each and every one who has given a small part or a large part in service of the ideals that this man, and in fact, the entire Jesuit order has lived their entire life for. With this, everyone, Nihil Ultra, very happy Alsoc Day to everyone. Thank you all for staying with us right till this end. And I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, a good night, and see you all soon. Thank you very much.
So we thank Mr. Siddhant, our Honorary Secretary, and all the steering committee members, and all of you, those who have been part of it. I suppose for the prayer.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.